The main goal with using this book, though, is that you are passing the love for hiking on to your family and your kiddos, right? And so it is very much designed to be held in the hands of kids, to be have milk get spilt on it, folded up inside of their backpack. And we really want it to be in their hands. And that's why we have the word co-adventure. We want you to be alongside them and not so much, we're going on a hike today, everybody get in the car, and then, how long will it take? Instead, maybe they're going through it and trying to tell you, oh, I found one. It looks really cool because we have really nice, beautiful color photos in here. So they can say, I'm interested in seeing a coastal hike. I want to go see Wadsworth Falls. I want to go try to summit on my own ledge. And so that's the inspiration behind this book. I'm going to walk through a little bit more about why we wrote the book and what how you can use it. And then of course, I'll pass back on to Karen to see if you have any questions. In this case, I want to go through how you can dream about a hike you might want to go and look through something like my book or All Trails. And how do you get excited about finding a hike you want? How do hiking guides do that for you as an adult? And how does this book do it for kids? And then we talk about planning, right? When are you going to go? Where are you going to go? How long will it take? And then finally, everybody just get out and do it. In this case, dreaming. So I did write this with my family, and it's dedicated to my family every time. This is our third book in the series. We've done Oregon, Washington, and California over the last 5 years. And my dad is really my inspiration. He took me out when I was a baby, right? On long road trips, got me on the trail. And it truly shaped who I am as a person today. And so writing this book really was for me to help spread that same love of nature that I know I got instilled, and help all of you as parents to get that same inspiration and help your kids become not only hikers, but conservationists of the land, people who want kids who grow up to doing really amazing hikes in New England, right? Maybe one day they will go and do Mount Washington or do the Appalachian Trail one day, right? So these are all the baby steps of that. A little bit about me and my background. I am a former classroom educator, science educator, and nowadays I work with teachers around the world around planning amazing content, specifically using technology. And so you'll see later on in the presentation, I give tips for how not only can you turn off your tech so your kids can really focus on the outdoors, but so they also can use it to maybe enhance the experience, learn more about the things that they're seeing on the trail, and capturing it to share with friends and family. So you'll see in the book, you can see on our, this is our Oregon, Washington map, but we do have 50 from all over the state, so all over the region. And we did that on purpose. A lot of families ask, oh, I really wish I had 50 hikes Hartford, right? Which is amazing. And there's some really good books. We hope your bookshelf not only has this book, but we hope you start to have a shelf dedicated to adventure, right? Maybe you might have more specific hikes that you can find at RJ Julia, right? Or maybe there's a kayaking guide or a rock climbing guide. Like, who knows what will happen on your hiking guide bookshelf. But I hope that this can be a kid-friendly one that's on your shelf. And I'm going to give you a taste of across all 6 states of New England. And then the homework for all of you family folks is to research more, right? I've given you 1 or 2 that are near each big city. It's your job to go look on All Trails or look at your other guidebooks or search online and think, now where? Now what can I do? And building that skill in your kids to dream, right? Dream, where do I want to go next? Soon one day, and back to my dad, it comes full circle. I promise. If you invest this time in the outdoors with your kids now, you will be thanking them when you're 60, like my dad, and having me drag him along to go do some of this amazing stuff. And so we do like to think of with kids, asking them, what is your favorite feature? And helping, you can see in the front of the book, we do organize it by, what are the best waterfalls? What are the best rivers, caves, summits, beach, history? And we're so, blessed in New England that there's a really big diversity of all of these things. And so by having your kids help choose these hikes in the book, you're exposing them to figure out what kind of hiker you are, right? Many hikers love summits and love to go get those viewpoints. Others don't love that. Others love water features, right? So this is really great to talk to your kids about this after each hike or before and say, what was your favorite part, right? I love to do something called 3 positives. And after, as we're debriefing on the drive home with our treat, we can say, what were the 3 positive things that happened on the trail? 3 favorites, right? And then we make memories. Also planning, right? And so, one thing I like to do is I use Google Maps a lot. So you can see in the book, we have Google Maps links that go to every single one directly where they go into the parking lot. So you don't have to worry about where you're going. But then sometimes me and the kids actually do a walkthrough. There's many trails where you can get a street view of this trailhead and you can just make sure it looks how you want it. Some of them, you can even click your way all the way through the entire trail virtually. Finally, everybody, it is to go get out and actually do it. I get a lot of questions from parents that say, oh, but I don't know all the answers, right? I don't know historical answers when we're on a cool trail, right? Like you may come across, particularly in New England, stone agriculture walls all the time, right? And so sometimes parents are like, oh, I'm afraid, what if my kid asks, how old is that? I don't know, right? And so we want to help instill in parents to have a questioning and curiosity to your hike, right? You don't need to know the answer, but it is great to help ask questions. So parents, as you're walking on the trail, you could ask and say, well, where do you think that came from? Go look at the wall and say, what are some clues here, right? And nobody has to have the answer. Let your kids come up with the answer. So much in today's society, we give the answers to our kids and we want them to think about things and maybe make their own conclusions about how things turned out the way they are. So I love this quote that I have on the screen. Adults, you can be curious just like kids naturally are. Nobody needs to teach kids to do that. They naturally want to be outside. They naturally want to make questions about what they see. And they naturally want to learn answers to them. So I encourage families to get those questions. And then it's a fun activity when you come back is to think of, well, maybe we can Facebook message the ranger of that park to say, and then let your kids come up with the questions and say, let's find out. And then keep teaching those fun research skills after a hike, which I do today as an adult. I love figuring out the answers to all of my crazy questions on a hike. One thing too is nature journaling, right? So that's Xavier on the screen, but this is my adult nature journal. So you'll see in the book, often in the 5 scavenger hunt items I have, I'll say, give a prompt to say, trace a leaf in your nature journal or sketch the landscape that you see. And so what our family likes to do is after every hike, we actually write. So here's Drift Creek Falls. We like to write about things that we thought were interesting, questions we have, sketches. We love putting our national park stamps in it. And it's so fun. We read this. This thing is like, this is an old one. I've got about 10 now around the house. And so it's so fun that this is from 2014 and like to go back and see everything. It's really fun. So we have this kind of traveling with us in the car all the time to capture our memories. And then we also like to talk to them about what the day was like. This helps build this naturalist intelligence in your kids, right? How cold did it feel today, right? Did it feel like there was any moisture in the air? What was the sky doing? And sometimes we'll write in our nature journal and say it was hot, and just starting to understand around us. And that helps build them for when they become an adult hiker to start getting that sense of what they need to pack and, should I go today or should I not go today? We do have a philosophy that there's no bad weather, especially in New England. There's only bad clothes, right? Save for lightning. But, and so we really try to instill that as you're on the trail, really ensuring that you are being a positive, right? You may feel crappy inside because you're soaking wet, but we try to help kids pack their own bags, right? And so that's a firm rule. We call it our adventure bag, is you take what you bring. We found this out the hard way. When we first started, everybody wanted to bring games with them and things, and then they had to hold it. So they quickly realized that, okay, let's bring it maybe one favorite toy that can come out, when we find the mushroom patch and, make our cute fairy trails through the mushroom patch. But that can help too, for them starting to think of, well, did you bring your coat? Helping them think of what might I need for this hike? What kind of snacks might I need? Again, back to the co-adventuring with parents, is starting to put some ownership and autonomy to your kids and independence. Hiking can be a really great way to build all of those skills. Another thing, when you're sketching in your nature journal, don't worry, you don't have to be an artist. Your kids don't have to be. It's really about sketching what you see, tracing what you see, and taking notes of what you do. And then I already mentioned a little bit about scrapbooking it as super fun and sharing it. And then that follow-up. Oh, I do like ranking. This is really fun. We actually, I'll dig into All Trails in a minute. I'll go on their website and just kind of show you some tips for how you can extend the book and grow out. But we love actually rating it together. And so we actually will, as a family, write our own review. And we'll say, was that 5 stars, 4 stars? And then it's a really fun writing exercise for kids of just reflecting and say, let's write 3 sentences that can help other hikers, right? Other hikers read this and can say, oh, Karen's family went yesterday and it was a little muddy. Like maybe we should pack something else. It looks like the rains really got it muddy. So we like to give back to the community in that way. And it's really great. Kids can think about, why they may not have liked a trail as much, or why it was a superstar hike, a 5-star hike.